further closer in there. Sorry about that. I think a lot of people are getting surprised because it says February 10th. It's not February 10th. It's right now. I don't know why I did that, but YouTube does its own thing sometimes. So welcome to the program. I'm gonna have, I had a much easier time yesterday. Let me move this in a little bit more. So sorry about this, folks. Yeah, no, it's let's try that. It should be good because I had her in the frame much better yesterday. She was sitting here. Okay, ouch, that hurt.
Okay.
Okay, I'm fine. All right, so that'll probably work. Well, welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody tunes in now, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's today, and I don't know why YouTube. I see somebody found it. I don't know why YouTube said tomorrow because I set the time for today. So anyway, I had to reset a couple times. Okay, people are showing up. That's fantastic. But the chat is so far away, we won't be able to see it very well. So I'm here with Tabez, who is a South African refugee from Gauteng, who came here, and he is a different story. So we've had a lot of different stories lately. This story specifically is about, I know why. Let's hang on. The camera is slightly uneven. That's what's going on here. That's what's driving me nuts. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
There we go. So that means the floor in the hotel is not level. I hope it doesn't collapse on us.
It better not.
All right, there we go. All right, that's a lot better. So anyway, he is a South African refugee who came here from Gauteng, and he was initially located to Maine, but that wasn't even where he was supposed to go. So we're going to talk about that. He was diverted when he arrived in America to Maine, to Portland, Maine, and then from there didn't get satisfactory services from his view and decided to relocate to Texas. And here he is in Texas. That kind of is, let's start with that. So you're from Gauteng. When did you first become aware of the program?
So the day that Trump announced the program, I saw it all over the news, and I was just taken aback. I was like, okay, I need to really look into this and try and take advantage of the opportunity that was given to me. And yeah, it really grabbed me.
So you saw it on the 7th already?
Yes.
You didn't see it on my channel though, did you?
No. I just saw it on the news.
Wow, surprised I actually reported it.
But that time they really were on the refugee case, the bad, the good, the ugly, everything.
Well, most of it from their perspective is the bad and the ugly. It wasn't true. All right, so you found out about that. Did you do a PRM email?
No. I just waited it out. I heard about the emails and I heard like thousands of people. I was a bit worried, like I'm not going to make it, but I just waited it out until something bigger developed from it.
So did you do the statement of interest later on then?
Yes, the day of the statement of interest. Oh, there's actually a funny story. So I was at work and I was looking on the computer and I just saw the news that said the statement of interest is there and refugees. I grabbed my phone and I headed to the bathroom, sat in there for 20 minutes, looking for
too much information
for the form to fill in. And yeah, when I got the opportunity, I just took it.
So you didn't even see my Wimpy broadcast then?
No.
So I played no role in your discovering this program?
No, I just waited for this. I actually followed the U.S. Embassy of Pretoria on X and all that to just wait for news.
Okay, well, good. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it. I mean, it's not supposed to be some guy out there making YouTube videos letting the world know, but unfortunately, most people seem to be finding out that way because it just was poor coverage of it. All right, so you did the statement of interest right there on that day, the 12th of May, when they landed in the States. And when did you get your first call or email?
My first email, it was around July. And then it was followed up 2 weeks with a call and interview for around an hour or so.
That's the screening.
Yes. A woman from Kenya called. She asked me all the questions about persecution, who I am, and all that. And yeah, from there on, I developed to the in-person interviews as well.
All right, so that was a couple of months, and then that's July. When did you first actually go from then before you went and did medicals and fingerprints and interview with USCIS?
August. Everything happened in August.
Oh, that actually happened pretty fast.
Yes. And I was supposed to leave in September, but then the national shutdown happened. And yeah, and the worst case was a week before I was supposed to fly in September, I told my boss I had an opportunity in America. I'm going to go. And I just left my job. And then
there was no flight.
There was no flight. And I had to live off the small little pension I had left until I got the chance to fly in December.
Wow. So you actually came over in December, though?
Yes.
And what was the date?
The 4th.
Okay, so you came at the beginning of December. when it first started surging again. All right, and you flew into where?
I flew from South Africa all the way to Atlanta, Georgia.
To Atlanta. From there, you went to New York.
Yes.
But what happened?
So at Atlanta, I was supposed to fly to Boston. When I landed, they rerouted my...
Were you supposed to be settled in Boston or just flying to Boston?
Settled in Boston.
Okay. So you were supposed to, before you left South Africa, you understood you'd be settled in Boston.
Yes. And
you got to Atlanta and it changed.
Yeah, the IOM told me your flight has changed. You're heading to Portland, Maine now instead of Boston. I was preparing for Boston for 2 months now. I was looking up Boston, jobs in Boston, all that.
Transport, apartments, rent, yeah.
And then heard I'm going to Portland. I didn't know which Portland. I thought I was going to Oregon now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, my first thought would be Portland, Oregon too. But it's strange that we have, I don't know, probably about a dozen Portlands in America, but the one in Oregon is the most famous.
Yes. And then I was supposed to fly on the 4th, but it got cancelled and delayed. So I had to sleep in a hotel in Atlanta. And actually, I couldn't sleep all night.
You were wired. You're 8 hours ahead.
Yes.
7 hours ahead.
My brain was not ready for that. I just stayed outside in the rain and watching a police car patrol around in circles the whole night until...
Well, at least there are police that patrol in America.
That's one thing I do appreciate, feeling safe here.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So you actually flew through JFK, if I remember you said.
Yes.
Okay. And was there a layover there, or did you go pretty quickly to the next flight?
Pretty quickly, an hour's wait.
Okay, that's not bad. And then you landed in Portland, and you wound up with what agency?
MEAS. I ended up with MEAS.
What is MEAS?
MEAS is Maine Immigration.
Okay, it's a local.
Yes, it's a local.
Agency. Okay, it's not a national one. So you wound up with them, and we were talking before we went on air, and Talon said that the place where their offices are is kind of run down and grungy.
So unfortunately, yeah, it's not the best of conditions when it came to their offices. They were renting pretty nice offices as well, but their main head office was pretty run down and all that. So the conditions weren't the best, but a lot of the people who worked there did give the basic services, did give me housing, did help me with food and all that. The basic things were done for me. I did end up getting an apartment and settling down there for a little bit.
So you were there, about a month and a half?
Yes.
Okay, so you were there from December till about mid-January.
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point you decided it wasn't working out. But let me just run through the list of things here that we got to cover. So you got there, and this agency in Maine, they greeted you at the airport, picked you up?
Yes, but that worked perfect.
Did they take you to temporary accommodation?
Yes, hotel.
Okay. And then how long were you in the hotel?
Around 10 days.
Okay, 10 days. And then they took you for an apartment?
Yes.
Did you have to sign a lease?
Yes, it's luckily a month-to-month lease. So
that worked out very well for you.
Yes,
then. Yes.
So that wasn't too bad. And from there on, I just sat down. I bought like a microwave, $20 Facebook Marketplace. I would recommend when you get here, use that to save money, because the moment you arrive in the US, your budget starts to deplete little by little. Every order you make on DoorDash, yeah, that's...
Oh, no. No. Don't do takeaways. Don't do fast food. So everybody keeps all this other, keep talking about Facebook Marketplace. Okay, fine. But Facebook Marketplace, you don't see the item. And if it doesn't work when it comes to you, then you've got to sort out what the person sold it to you if they're
That is true. That is true.
So my recommendation to all of you, and I've said this a lot lately, is that particularly as the weather gets better, yard sales, which are huge in America. People have yard sales all the time. When I was a kid, my mother and my stepfather, that's what they did all summer long. Drive around. Every time they saw yard sale, they'd stop. People had them all the time. And you get some really good deals. People trying to get rid of things they no longer need. We've come across where people sold brand new TVs because they got another TV and, for like $10, that stuff happens. And you can check it right there, before you leave. So there's a lot of venues here to make sure you get things. That's one, yard sales. Another thing is that we have Goodwill stores and Salvation Army. They sell goods, and they're dirt cheap and they're serviceable. They don't put junk out on the shelves. If it's stained or ruined, if it's broken, they're not going to put it out there. But if it's serviceable, and so you can save a lot of money doing that as well.
Yeah, there was also a lot of good thrift stores you could go to.
Yeah, thrift. Those are essentially thrift stores. Salvation Army, Goodwill. But yeah, thrift stores. That's so look at lots of things. And some people will be like, well, look, guys, you're starting over. Unless you're independently wealthy like Rob Hersoff or Johann Rupert, you're gonna have to curb your expectations until you get established and get something going. So you were there for about a month and a half. and they took care of those things in a month-to-month lease. That's kind of handy.
Yes.
What about when you arrived for food? Did they have anything for you? Any groceries?
And that's where all the junk food really came in. When I was in the hotel, it was only takeaways for.
But they didn't bring you any food when you arrived?
No.
I mean, that's the norm. Normally, when people arrive, they have food for them.
Like a night's food.
Yeah, like proper food from a grocery store. Groceries. Did they bring you groceries?
No, not in the hotel. I did go to the grocery and bought like water and stuff, but
No. I'm talking about your refugee agency. They never gave you anything like that.
No.
Okay, that's normal. Okay, so for folks to understand, normally when you arrive, the refugee agency will provide some groceries, and it comes out of your allowance that's there for money, but they have bought it ahead of time so that you have it, so you've got some, so you don't have to eat takeaways and gain 45 pounds.
That happened when I got the apartment. Is when we went for our first real.
Did they bring groceries for you then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. As long as they did at some point, that's key, because that's supposed to happen. All right. But then, did they help you with your EAD?
Yes, I got my EAD. That's sorted.
How quickly did you get that?
2 weeks.
That's pretty good, because the USCIS goal is 30 days. They don't always fulfill that. I know somebody in Iowa still doesn't have one from May of last year. So that's okay. That's good. But Social Security number, did they set you up for an appointment for that?
Yes, the day after I arrived. But that's where the trade-off came with the EAD being fast. I'm still waiting for the social right now.
So you filed for a Social Security number in December and still don't have it?
Yeah, like the 5th or 6th of December.
I'm going to suggest that maybe there's a problem here because you moved and maybe they've already provided it.
They didn't, but I did in this week head to the Social Security Association and they...
Administration.
Yes, administration, and they reapplied me for a new one. So it's 2 weeks from now, hopefully.
Okay, so it sounds like the Social Security Administration in Maine didn't do their job.
Yes, I think it just got lost in the system.
No, it does. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's not off limits. So okay, so it wasn't the refugee agency that let you down. It was okay, but for some reason you decided that Maine wasn't for you. What was going on? Why did you suddenly decide to leave after a month? You had an apartment, you had your EAD, your Social Security was in, expecting to come anytime soon, but then you decided you want to leave. I mean, was it too cold?
It was pretty cold, you know. If you start to say 1 degree Celsius is a good day, you know you're in a cold place.
1 degree Celsius is a good day.
No, but honestly, there's a lot of factors really. One is that Maine, it's beautiful and very nice, but the economy is very seasonal. Tourism is a big thing in Maine, and December jobs are a bit scarce there. And another thing that happened is my employment team, who had to work with me on employment, really struggled to communicate with me, as well as my neighbor who ended up coming with me to Texas. And that communication really broke down in me and my neighbor just sitting in our apartments for weeks on end doing nothing. We couldn't really start looking for work or build up our resumes or anything really like that. And that was a bit of a worry, because I'm here for a job at the end of the day.
So at this point, Thomas, I mean, I'm trying to be fair to the refugee organization. It doesn't sound like they really let you down. I mean, if they did, you can tell me. Except for one thing, they didn't really help you take your CV and turn it into a resume, did they?
A resume, as well as give me guidance on what to expect here in America.
Okay, so in that way, they've kind of let you down.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything else was fun. It's just the employment part,
which is one of the most important parts.
Yes, that was a bit of a real hassle. You know?
Do you think it was just inexperience, or they were busy, or overwhelmed, or was it bias, or just
they
confidence?
couldn't have been overwhelmed.
No, there's no refugees.
You know, there was at that time only 5 South African refugees in Maine when I was there, and honestly, in my viewpoint, I think they didn't know what to do with us.
But I mean, I've heard that from a few South African refugees. What do you mean by that? Because I can infer something from that, but I want to hear what you have to say. They didn't know what to do with you. How so?
So I went to speak with the case manager's head of the employment team, not the case manager, I mean the employment team's head. And he literally told me they were expecting farmers. That's what he told me directly.
Well, that's because they're stupid.
And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, they don't know.
And you're not a farmer.
What they're going to have to do with us. And that means they're going to struggle to help us if we, you know, sit here and can't really find a job.
All right, so let me interject here, folks. So this is why truth in reporting is essential. This is why cogent, genuine, unbiased, well, objective, everything's biased, but objective analysis and reporting is essential. We have people in America in refugee agencies that have bias or have expectations that are invalid. They were expecting to be a farmer. Why would they do that? Because U.S. media said this is for white farmers. We're relocating white farmers. And that's what the social media glitterati keep talking about, white farmers. I have said from the outset, this is not a program for whites. It's not for Afrikaners. It's not for farmers. Yes, all of them can come over if they've suffered past racial persecution or have a genuine fear of the future. But the program is for Afrikaners and racial minorities. So Afrikaners are predominantly white South Africans, but there's a lot of white South Africans who aren't Afrikaners, Portuguese and English speakers. So this is a problem when the media lies and misleads people. So those people who have a job to do are not very well informed. I'm not picking on them, but they're not very well informed because they shouldn't have expected a farmer. But what should have happened is there should have been better, closer coordination, because in some refugee cases, I know, for instance, that refugee case officers request information about the people coming, what career field they're in, because normally they're supposed to try to put you in a place where you can work in your career field. Now, you have experience in retail, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So, I mean, Freeport would have been a better place for you because LL Bean is there.
Yes.
That's a great retail outlet.
I was to LL Bean. It's a fantastic town.
Did you see that? Oh, you were in the store?
Yeah.
It's insane.
I would have worked there if I could, but waiting for all the
it was
socials and stuff made it a bit hard.
But I mean, have you ever seen? There's nothing in South Africa like LL Bean.
No. I would recommend there be something like that in South Africa.
Well, Safari Outdoor tries, but they're tiny. They're not even kidding to compete with that.
No.
LL Bean is just absolutely. I mean, LL Bean, people go to Maine to go to LL Bean.
Definitely. Yeah. It's part of Maine culture, I would say.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's historically been a catalog company, and now it's online. But there are some LL Bean stores outside of it. There used to be one in Columbia, Maryland. I used to go to that one, but the thing that sucked is because they put a store in Maryland. When you order mail order, there wasn't supposed to be any tax on it, and for decades we had no tax on mail order because states apply sales tax, and the state can't apply sales tax to a resident of another state.
Yes.
So they all try to change the laws now so they can charge sales tax, which is what they do, and Amazon led the charge doing that. But that's why Amazon used to be a better deal, because you didn't pay sales tax. But when they built a LL Bean store in Maryland, suddenly I had to pay sales tax every time I ordered something from LL Bean. Okay, so the job opportunities, because it was off season, weren't particularly good. They didn't understand, but I mean, it wasn't a language issue. They understood.
No, there wasn't a language issue, but I think in a sense they didn't understand where we came from, what we're here for, really. They, especially with the jobs, they usually took us out driving. They drove us everywhere, from lighthouses in Maine to LL Bean. Everywhere, like we're on a vacation, but this isn't supposed to be a vacation. We were treated as if we were tourists, but we knew time is ticking and we need to get a job. We need to settle down.
All right. So, well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but that's also something that can be done by refugee assistance officers and case officers, because they're trying to orient you and get you. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a Somali.
There was a lot of Somalis.
Right. I know. But put yourself in the shoes of a Somali who rocks up in Maine. It doesn't look anything like Somalia in any respect whatsoever. So that's why they do things like that. And they were probably trying to so it sounds like they were trying to do their job.
Yes,
it's just there was a breakdown when it came to employment.
Definitely. And that's one of the big pushes that told me I couldn't stay there, especially with my budget running out. And I know it's getting low, and second month's rent coming. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to pay for that. So I needed assistance housing. And when it comes to Lewiston's, I'm not sure if it's government or what do you call it for the people who work there, who help with assistance housing.
Well, it's probably one of the departments that works for either the state or county or the municipal government.
Yes. Yeah. So they told me I'm going to have to do 30 hours of community service to help me assist with paying my rent. And that's after my cash assistance is already taken away. So that's essentially working 30 hours and not getting paid for it just to be able to live. And I knew from there on, time is ticking. I need to get somewhere where there is hopefully employment opportunities before I have to pay more rent and do the community service. I felt like it's going to be a step backward. I would be managed to survive, but it's not the direction I wanted to go in.
Well, the community service, I'm not really sure what's going on there, but in the late 1990s, there was a work fair, they called it. And there's been a push recently by the Trump administration, but it's not really implemented at the national level unless this is part of the big, beautiful bill, in which those who are able have to, in order to get benefits, have to do something. So that's probably what this is. they said you had to do community service in order to get, so it's not a salary, but in order to get grants, you're going to have to do something rather than just sit around. So maybe that's what's going on there. That's interesting.
Yes, it makes sense. I understand it, but it's not the direction I wanted to head in.
No, fair enough. I get that. All right, so you decided to relocate to Texas. I mean, what brought that on? I mean, was there a draw here? You don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend down here, do you?
So my neighbor at that time, she started talking to Lily, and she discussed our situation with Lily, and Lily said, "You're welcome to come here. You know, Texas has been an Afrikaner safe haven of a sense, or a lot of Afrikaners are here. The community is strong." And we believed, because we were only 5 people in Maine, there's no community really of Afrikaners. I think the community aspect of it, as well as the economic aspect of Dallas, Texas, really drew us and said, okay, let's take the chance, you know. So I sold everything in my apartment, closed my case, all that, bought the plane ticket, and came down here to Dallas.
You bought the plane ticket out of your own pocket?
Yes, you had to.
So you came on a wing and a prayer?
Yes. Literally, first night I knew I was sleeping in a nice hotel, the best bed ever. Day 2 came around, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's just hope Lily has a plan for us. That was unfortunately the only area where I'm like, I'm not sure what's going to happen next.
But you had 3 plans.
3 plans.
So you had 3 courses of action developed. You didn't just get on a plane and come down here. So why don't you tell folks what the 3 plans were?
So the first plan is going to an agency here who's CWS at the end of the day. Hopefully they could help us with housing assistance. The second one is maybe Lily can help us with housing assistance or get us somebody to live with or anything like that. And the third was putting our money together and at least have 1 month of rent. So those were the 3 plans that were set, and they all could have managed to an extent, definitely.
So you say we, so you weren't the only one that came down?
No, it was me and my neighbor in Maine who worked together on this to make sure that we end up here.
So I submit to you that, yes, there is a strong Afrikaner community here of refugees, and they are banding together, and they're doing wonderful. But I also submit to you that there'll never be one in Maine if you all keep leaving. Maine is just something else. It's beautiful. It's nice. The people in Maine are amazing. I'm not going to lie about that. But yeah, unfortunately, for the reason I'm here and job-wise, it's not the best right now. I would say if you land there in June, perfect, you'll get a job, I promise you. But December, it's going to be a bit harder. Yeah, no, you're right. Maine does have it also has an extractive industry, fishing, lobster fishing for fish, and then also has a big timber industry. So those are fields that are, the fishing is seasonal for the most part, not exclusively, and the timber industry is kind of hard to crack into. It's already well established. So unless it's growing, which it's not, you're not going to find much there. Farming in Maine is kind of sparse. There are farms, but it's not a big, agricultural location. And that's not your field anyway. So the biggest snafu you got right now after relocating down here is the Social Security number you're still waiting on.
Yes.
But that doesn't appear to be anybody's fault from a refugee standpoint.
No, that's
just a Social Security Administration hasn't gotten it done.
Yes.
Okay. So first off, having left South Africa, any regrets?
No.
Okay.
No.
Relocating from Maine, any regrets?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say so. The thing is, you have to have a mindset of, if you take this decision and you make this decision, you need to know you should not have regrets on it, because if you regret it, you're going to fall and cave in a sense of saying, did I make mistakes? The second guessing will get to you. That's something you should never let take hold of you.
So let me ask this. You weren't watching my channel, so the advice I gave to people, most of the people don't listen to me. My advice is, when you put the PRM email and you put statement, just put the intake question, whatever you put in there, continue your life is what I've told people. You have to, one thing you can do is, you've got a big family and a bunch of crap in your house, you can start decluttering, especially if you're hoarding, get rid of things. But don't sell your bucky, don't quit your job, continue to march on your life, because you don't know if or when this is going to happen. And so that's the advice I've given to people. Is that kind of how you went about it? Sounds like you had a job. You had it until the end, except that you couldn't fly.
So I didn't have a lot in South Africa. I only had a car and then a few household items rented there. So there's nothing really keeping me linked to South Africa in a sense. I was renting all that, got rid of it, or gave it to my fiance, who's still there right now. And yeah, now I'm just waiting.
Is she coming on the refugee program?
Yes. Unfortunately, in the beginning, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend. But as the case, my case proceeded, she didn't hear anything until September side, and I thought I was going to fly September. So I said, here you go. I asked her to be my fiance just to show her that everything is here. I'm not coming here just to run away. Or
Run away from
like
me.
that.
No. I'm in the refugee program, sweetheart. I'll see you next week.
She better be here.
All right. Well, okay. So it's your personal business, and but I'm still going to ask the question. So why didn't you just get married back there? The timing was bad.
The timing. It was like I have a week, and I thought it was going to fly, And after that, her case took off again. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Are your cases linked now?
It was linked in Maine, so my thinking is she might fly to Maine now.
She might get stuck in Maine now.
And then I'm going to let her fly back down.
Has she done a USCIS interview?
Yes, she's just waiting for a plane ticket.
Okay, then that's a very real possibility because she's lost her last chance to tell them, hey, he's not in Maine anymore, only in Texas. Wow, okay, that's quite a bit. And it's interesting you have no regrets. I like your approach to it. All right, so did you even know of me at all at some point?
Yes, I knew of you and I watched your videos.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But not always, I picked in and especially when...
sometimes viewers, man, are killing me. No,
especially when time grew closer to what to expect for America. Then I started watching your videos more and more and more, Before that, I just continued with my life in South Africa as it is.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good advice. I think most people should take that. Were the videos helpful in any way?
Definitely, the advice you gave really gave me an insight of what to expect. Not especially the thing of it's not vacation.
No, and it's not immigration.
Definitely, it's not, and it's not meant to be easy. You're still going to look for a job here. It's not like you're going to get a job in 2 days when you arrive. I've been here for 2 months and I'm still struggling, especially without my SSN. It's a bit of a struggle, but even informal work is a bit harder to find here.
Informal work.
I never said anything.
Talk about that. 30 million illegals want to know where those jobs are. But seriously. All right. Well, it's interesting. When you were in South Africa, did you? We don't have to go into what happened, but I mean, did you? Because people come on here like, oh, these people aren't struggling, not victims persecution. I don't know what people expect the victim of persecution to be. Are they supposed to be disfigured or missing limbs, or have brain damage? I mean, what exactly? Because persecution isn't just physical; it's also being denied job opportunities because of racist laws and things. So, did you feel, or did you have past persecution? Or
yes, I did. I grew up on a farm, and it was hard. I was still a young baby, preteen and teen. There was a lot of arson on the farm in north of Pretoria, stuff like that. They set the grass on fire, cut wires and stuff like that, informal settlements, and that it was not easy.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what has been the most surprising thing for you so far? You've been in America now for 2.5 months. I mean, has anything surprised you?
I think the misconception of how Americans are, I think a lot of people think Americans are more single-minded, like they're rude and stuff, but most Americans are actually very nice, helpful, and they try to help you out, especially if you're someone new here, especially with all the Uber rides I've taken. A lot of Americans actually do Uber, and all of them are very nice, and that's something I really didn't expect. You get this media portrayal of Americans being a bit mean a lot of the time.
Well, you get the media portrayals, which, I mean, look, obviously there's some people like this, you can't exclude, but I mean, but Americans generally, but you get the media portrayal. The Americans are the loud tourists. The Americans are individualistic. They don't care about community, yada, yada, yada. When in fact, if you come meet Americans, most are friendly and polite. Most people go out of the way to help you. Most of them will do that. They tend to be very faith-based. I mean, over 80% of Americans attend church regularly, or close to 80%. It used to be 95%, but it's close to 80%, which is much higher than anywhere in Europe. And Americans tend to be, I mean, whether people want to admit it or not, they tend to be generous. But I will say that it's not universal. I mean, you go to Manhattan, you're not going to have people waving to you saying hi when you're walking down the streets of Manhattan. And even in Pennsylvania, I say hi to people, but they look at me like I'm a country bumpkin sometimes. But here in Texas, I can't walk on the street without somebody saying, hello, how you doing? Everybody's been polite to me everywhere I've gone in Dallas.
It's very interesting. Another thing is, America is not just one thing. In Maine, people are different from here in Texas. In New York, they're not the same as in Maine or Texas. So in a sense, it's a geography really depicts on who you're talking to, the characteristics, the culture. Each state has a different culture, really.
Well, and that's true in a very real sense, but there's also a regional culture too. So the
Yes.
Deep South has a culture that goes across boundaries, but they also have localized things. The Old Southwest, West Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and parts of Southern California have a very distinct culture. In fact, that one goes back quite a ways. And then you've got some of the mountains and plain states that have large Native American populations, which adds to the culture there. Yeah, it's and then you have a bunch of lunatics who live in Minnesota. So,
Definitely.
but it's America is a nation, and there are many similarities. You can find the same things everywhere. You can find Costco anywhere in America. You can find Walmart anywhere in America. You can find lots of things, McDonald's anywhere in America. But that being said, you also find lots of local variants and individual things. So, for instance, in Texas, my favorite sub store is here because it's based here, but it went bankrupt, and a lot of its stores around the country closed. It wasn't nationwide; it was regional. There was even one in Santon, Schlotzsky's. Schlotzsky's makes subs, and they're fantastic. I've seen them; they're still in business here in Texas, but I can't get that in Pennsylvania, so I miss it. And then there's what is it? Not Steak and Shake. That's the one from New York, but there's another one, Steak something. But that's it's a Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia franchise. You don't see it everywhere.
No.
Yeah.
And I think you should definitely also try the local stores, the local foods and stuff like that. You will definitely miss out if you only go to fast food chains. You know, you can try it once, but don't keep to it. You will definitely pick up weight.
Yeah. Well, it's also not healthy for you. I'm sure it clogs the arteries and things like that. But okay, so where you live is not exactly a palatial mansion, but it's livable. Yes.
Yes, I would say it's a mindset thing as well. You know, I'm here now. I need to make the best of what I have. The situation. I sleep on a couch, but it's a very comfortable couch, so I'm not going to complain about it. You know, there is mattresses, but I don't want to sleep on the floor, so I stick to the couch. I still look for work, and I just have that mindset of I'm going to one day just laugh about this. You know, one day it's going to be a story. Do you remember when you did this, or you were stuck there, or you were in Maine? You know, that's how I put my mindset towards these situations.
So how do you stay in touch with your fiance? WhatsApp or
WhatsApp? I have to call her every day. She's probably already calling me now, but she'll have to wait for a little bit. But you know, so I do that as well as keep in touch with my family, my mother and father. And my brother, he finally decided he wants to come over after I arrived. He's like, America looks so cool. It's so nice. And now he's trying his best, going through all the interviews as well right now.
But he's way in the back of the queue.
Exactly. So I said, I'll wait for you here. We'll see when you get here where I'll be. Maybe I can help you guys out.
So your fiance, is she also from Gauteng or?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Right. Okay. Is she excited?
She's very excited, but she's tired of waiting. She's tired of being away from me. She's just telling me how much
that's a good sign that she's tired of being away from you. So, all right. Well, okay. Long distance relationships are not always easy. That can be a challenge. Ask people in the military; they can tell you what that's like, being deployed for long periods of time away from your family. So, what's been the most disappointing thing? I mean, not everything is champagne and roses. I mean, there's got to be something that's been disappointing. I mean, besides not having your Social Security number yet.
You know, it's hard to say disappointing because I've experienced a lot, and I can't really say what was too disappointing. You know. I would say the only thing I can complain, unfortunately, is the work being a bit of an issue, but that's expected, you know. It's part of it, you know. I can't say the culture-wise. I think there's still a lot I have to explore and see before I can really say what's good and bad. The Super Bowl I went to, it was a bit underwhelming. You
didn't go to the Super Bowl. You watched it.
I watched it.
Okay.
I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, wait a second.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Okay, I got to call. You know, so this guy just told me he's waiting for a job and he's running out of money, and he went to the Super Bowl with tickets for $10,000 a ticket, and it was yesterday in San Francisco. I'm not buying it. You went to Super Bowl watch party.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was cool, but it was just very slow. You know.
It was a defensive battle. I mean, I don't usually watch the Super Bowl, but I was sitting here last night working, and I turned the TV on. And that was the channel it was on. So I watched what I consider to be a very dull and boring halftime show, and then
I couldn't watch it. I just went outside.
Yeah, I was. But anyway, yeah. So the only good news for me is that I can't stand the New England Patriots, and they lost. So I'm glad.
I actually rooted for them in the beginning, but you know, I was in Maine in the beginning, so I'm like, I began there, so let me root for New England. But just seeing them struggle, I'm like,
That's the championship game.
It should be competitive.
Much more competitive, yeah.
You know.
Now, I'm sure it was a pretty disappointing game, but Seahawks fans, I'm sure, are very happy. Their running back was very impressive, but I don't really watch the NFL much anymore because of the Kaepernick and the taking a knee nonsense 10 years ago.
Politics.
But I mean, they put politics in. I was a devout NFL fan since 1975 until about 2015 when they ruined it for me. So since then, I've kind of backed away a bit.
And
plus, my team sucks, so it's easy not to watch it.
And the one thing is, I'm going to compare everything to rugby. I'm going to like rugby's tackles are better here. It's faster paced, so I'm going to compare it, unfortunately, to rugby a lot of the time.
That's fair. But watching rugby in the U.S. is challenging. I have to have multiple subscriptions and multiple services, and sometimes one of the providers fails to start the game on time, and you get stuck with that. But that's why one of the reasons, because a lot of people can't afford DSTV or SuperSport because SuperSport's pricey. So I started doing Rugby Ascendant, my other channel, where I do play-by-play and color commentary.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you support the Bulls.
Yeah, I do, but I mostly watch the national games, international games, Springboks and all that.
Okay, so you're international test masters, really?
Yes,
okay.
That's where it grabs me the most.
Well, yeah, that's understandably so. But no, I watch varsity, I watch Curry Cup, and I watch the URC, and I watch the test matches. I watch them all.
Yeah, if sport in America, something else doesn't grab me, I'm probably going to start going to more of like the local South African rugby as well. You know, if NFL doesn't grab me, or the baseball or whatever really doesn't grab me, I'm going to see if I go just watching back to rugby and all that.
Well, just a couple of years ago, there were 3 professional rugby teams here in Texas. There was one in Dallas, the Jackals. Houston was the SaberCats, and Austin was the Gilgronis, or whatever. They changed their name. But they've all folded up their tents, if I'm not mistaken, which kind of sucks. I actually flew down here a couple of years ago to cover Major League Rugby. I flew down here, and I drove from here to Houston, covered their game on a Friday, or it was on Saturday, I can't remember. And the next day, I drove up to Dallas for the Jackals game, which was interesting. But yeah, it's unfortunate, and there were a lot of South Africans playing it, plus some Namibians. Vian Conradi from Namibia played for the Dallas team. I interviewed him. And then Carl Say, who used to play for Atlanta, and he wound up playing for Dallas at that point, because I used to cover Atlanta as well. There's no team in Atlanta either. The teams just keep coming and going. So it's kind of hard to follow sport when your teams disappear.
Definitely. I heard there's going to be a game with the All Blacks in South Africa in the US, I think. It's
in Baltimore. I have a ticket.
You're lucky.
I had to sell a kidney to pay for the ticket. No, I'm not lucky. I had to sell a kidney. No, it's and I have the top row. It's on September 12th. So that's part of the All Blacks tour of South Africa, but that's not in South Africa. The reason is because they're going to make so much coin. The tickets were unbelievably expensive. The cheapest seats were $140.
That's a lot.
And some of the decent seats were $800.
I don't know what to say. I wouldn't be able to do that.
I mean, 100 seats at $800, that's about $80,000, you know, just for 100 seats, and it seats 60,000 people.
That's almost my bank account right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's bank accounts, and that's the problem. But it's gonna be sold out already, and it's gonna be hard to get a seat there. The hotels are clogged up already. I mean, I like to stay at the Hilton, which is walking distance from the stadium, and also has good parking there, and they have the breakfast, and they have a big lobby area. But already before they announced the time of the game, the hotel was already fully booked for that day. So I had to get another Hilton property. It's further away, so I have to walk. Hopefully my hip won't be a problem on that day because it's a long walk.
You just know.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So other than getting your fiance over here, and I guess your brother following at some point, and then finding work, which is obviously critically important, what's the next big thing for you? Have you got anything that you're thinking of doing? I mean, are you going to... I talked to someone, and they said that their next big thing is they want to build up a nest egg. Oh, it was Danny last night. She wants to build up a nest egg so she can get money to be able to deposit to buy a house at some point.
I think that would definitely be a great idea. You know, I've not thought about the next steps. You know, I have that goal I set far ahead in the next 5 years, but working towards the steps towards goals like that, it takes smaller steps, smaller things ahead. But now it only has to be like the job opportunity and my SSN to get here before I can think really of, okay, what's going to come now? Because one day I want that house, and all that, definitely. Maybe start a family, build towards that. You know, the life I wanted to have in South Africa, but I could unfortunately don't see myself having that in any way or form.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So it sounds like you're a person that's open to going where the opportunities are. So, I mean, if you're here and you start working, put a little bit of money in the bank, and you're not thrilled with the work you're doing, you start to search, you find that someone offers you a fantastic job in Salt Lake City or in Denver. Would you move?
Definitely. I would do it.
It's very American, by the way.
You know,
it's not very South African.
If the opportunity presents itself, I would definitely take it, especially if it's towards my ultimate goals of, you know, attaining a house. I actually, before I came, I used Idaho as a state, just as an idea of America for me to say, okay, Thomas, you keep running ahead, keep pushing towards it, because it's not easy, you know, leaving everything behind in South Africa. I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to my mother. All that I thought I was going to be able to see at the airport, but
Well, how much time did you have from the time that they said you're flying till you flew?
It was half a week.
Jeez, yeah.
So,
well, the Stoltz family had 3 days. That's pretty extreme. Some people I've talked to had a week or 10 days, but you don't get a lot of time.
Yes, but on the day I was flying, I wanted to say goodbye to her, but I couldn't. You know, only my father and my fiance, I got the chance to say goodbye, and got on that plane. Actually met somebody else who's also flying solo, so we bonded over us being solo. Actually, a colored woman, and then we just
wait. A colored woman?
Yeah.
No. I'm see. Okay, look, I got to call BS here. See, first off, I mean, this guy can't be a refugee. Number one, he's not a farmer. Okay. Number two, he's telling fairy tales about other racial minorities that came over. We know that's a lie. News 24, Ronald Lamola, Fikedi Mabalula, Cyril Ramaphosa. Newsroom Africa have all told me that only white avocado farmers. So this guy must be fake.
If it was that, but no, I can definitely remember. She was a heavy smoker. She was not prepared for this. She was very angry.
Are you sure she was colored, or was she just pretending to be colored?
No, she was.
Now, I don't know how you pretend to be colored. I'm just asking.
So no, unless she was a figment of my imagination.
No, yeah, maybe you had a little too many drinks on the flight. No. Okay, so you guys bonded with this colored lady.
Because
are you still in touch?
Not that
not so much. Okay.
After
do you know where she went?
I think it's North Dakota.
Oh, she's probably freezing. She doesn't have time to make phone calls and send WhatsApp. She's staying warm.
No, but Maine is also very cold. You know, I saw my life. If I stayed in Maine as well, I'm like, snow shovel is going to be a normal thing now. Yeah. You know,
and none of those K-Way puffer jackets, because they're useless. You'd have to get some real snivel gear from LLB.
Definitely. You know, and one thing is, I actually talked a lot with the hunters there. I actually went
it's big for hunting.
Yes. Everybody was hibernating there, so I couldn't really go out and meet people. It was just snow. Like, I was the only one walking in the streets. I actually made TikToks and said, "Where's everybody?" You know.
He's walking down the street and they went, "Hey, look, hon, it's another foreigner out walking down the street."
Yeah, but
hibernating. I like that. That's good.
That's how it felt, honestly.
Are you a hunter?
No, but okay. I would. When I got to Maine and I saw the hunting community, I'm like, I want to become part of it. You know, this could be a hobby, an expensive hobby one day, but let me find my footing first, you know?
All right. Okay. I was just curious about that because you mentioned the hunting thing. That's a big deal. Someone's tried to set me up a hunting lodge in South Africa, and I appreciate that, but that's not in the cards right now. Too many other things to do. All right. You found that people be very friendly here. The housing complex you're in, I mean, it's there's a lot of people in that complex. I mean, it's tight spaces. It's livable, but it's, I mean, I lived like that in my youth. At this stage in life, unless the stock market crashes and the government goes bankrupt, I won't starve. So I'm not living in something like that myself today. But obviously, it's a place where you're at for now. It's not where you plan to stay long term. Particularly when your fiance comes here.
Definitely,
you want some privacy.
Yes, that's the mindset for now. You know, take what you can, work what you have. You know, privacy is out of the question. There isn't any privacy, but you make do. I feel like I'm on like a submarine or U-boat, everybody sharing bunks and stuff. That's how it feels in a sense, but it's some things you have to give up for something bigger to take shape later on.
Well, and that is why I didn't join the Navy, because they wanted me to go in the submarine service. And in 1981, they offered me $20,000 enlistment bonus to sign up with the Navy for 6 years. And I said, "What is it?" And they said, "We want you to go in a submarine." I said, "So you want me to go under the water for 6 months, and then I sleep in a cot, and I get up and go duty, and someone else jumps in my cot and sleeps?" And they get on my, no, I don't think so.
In a sense, it feels like that, but it's luckily now I'm not sharing my bed with anyone. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you also have an out. I mean, I'm in a submarine. I can't just get up and walk outside.
For now, because of transportation being an issue, Uber being a bit expensive, you know, my most outings, it's either Walmart or just walking around the area. That's all I really have to go right now, especially with Texas and Dallas, freeways everywhere.
Oh, these are like, if you think that the highway between four ways that goes up to Pretoria is a big road.
No, you should see it here.
There are 8 lanes on one side, 8 lanes on the other side, plus feeder roads coming in all over the place in parts of Dallas. It's insane.
Definitely. And the funny thing is, when the snowstorm hit, I was here when I just arrived when the snowstorm hit. It was just quiet, nobody out.
Oh yeah, because these people don't know how to handle the cold weather.
Yeah.
They talk about hibernation. These people went into a deep sleep.
I literally thought it's like an apocalypse. The world ended. Where's all the people? You know, a day before.
It's like watching 28 Days Later.
Exactly. Everything just stopped.
Not even the zombies are out because it's too cold for the zombies.
Definitely.
Wow, I mean, I understand that. That's pretty crazy because again, it was an unusual event for Texas. And then here for the meet and greet, it was 84 degrees Fahrenheit. I got sunburned. It was crazy just a week later. But I couldn't come down that week because 5 days in a row, flights got canceled. And not because of Harrisburg. We had snow. Well, you can't see it, but I'll do it from the table. We had snow this deep from the table in Harrisburg. 24 hours later, everything was up and running.
Yes, and like 2 weeks ago, I was used to layering like jackets and socks.
And you had short sleeves and shorts on.
Yes, you know, and now it's a whole different game, especially with temperatures from north to south. I felt like I was everywhere in America almost now, especially up north in Maine, now down here in Texas. I was in New York, I was in Atlanta. Well, even if it was just flights, you know, I felt like I explored a lot of the places here.
All right, so my gosh, what else can I ask here that would be relevant for you? Let me see if we got something in the chat here. Someone had a question.
No problem.
Really quickly here. Make sure I didn't miss any important questions. So sorry, folks, but I'm not in the studio, so I have to come over like this. Penniless, but going to America, just waiting for, okay. Somebody's penniless, okay. All right, well, I'm sorry to hear you're penniless. That kind of sucks. Okay, these are mostly people just saying hello and greeting us. I'm looking for a question here. And as soon as I stop looking and I sit down, someone asks a question, I won't see it. That's how it works. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. See some deleted comments there.
And there's other things as well, you know, like smaller things you don't really take for granted. Like doing laundry in the US is a lot different than in South Africa.
How so?
You know, with laundromats being a lot bigger here than I would suspect in South Africa. You know, each week quarters become your cents here. In South Africa, they're useless, but here, a lot of the time, quarters and stuff, you have to have them. Otherwise, you can't do your laundry.
Yeah, and doing laundry has become quite expensive in a laundromat. I mean, it's last time I looked, it was like $1.75 to do a load. It used to be a quarter a load.
$1.75 to do one load, and then the dryer another.
Yeah.
In Maine, it's $4.
Is it $4?
$4.
Like I said, last time I looked.
Yeah.
That's been a while ago. So I have a wash machine and dryer in my house, but the last time I did laundry, it was like $1. So it's $4 a load.
Yeah. So it gets, and that's
so was it at 4 slots for quarters? You have to before and then before.
Exactly like that. And that's just the washing, and then $4 more to do the drying. Because in Maine, you can't hang your clothes; it's gonna freeze.
Yeah. Well, you can hang it, but you're not gonna be able to wear it. That's a good point. All right. Well, that's. Well, I mean, look, there's a family that's in I want to say Buffalo all the time, in Rochester that I visited. They have a house, and the agency there, which was Church World Services, which isn't providing the level of care that they're doing here. Church World Services up there didn't even take them to the house. They just told them where to go. They had to pay for an Uber to take them to the house, and they were told the keys are in a bucket outside. They got the keys. They walked in the house. They looked around, and there was an upstairs. They walked upstairs. They walked in on an Afghan family lying in bed.
That's just crazy.
The landlord had turned the house into 2 apartments, and they didn't have their door locked, and so they didn't know. No one told them. They should have been given a tour of the place before they went into it. So they were there for a week and taking their laundry to a laundromat, paying lots of money for it, only to finally discover, because the Afghan family told them about it, that they have a basement and there's a washer and dryer for their use.
Communication is key when it comes to these situations, especially if you're new. And when the communication becomes a problem, everything just halts, you know, especially when it comes to the progress of the resettlement.
I'm with you, Thomas, but my point about this is that I can understand communication mistakes with someone that speaks Tagalog or Farsi or Urdu and doesn't know English. I get that. But you all speak English well enough that there shouldn't be any communication problems from them telling you things.
Yes.
To me, what happened there is a lazy agent.
Definitely, I would agree with you on that point.
It's definitely a lazy agent.
It's not easy. And another thing I'd actually like to discuss is when it comes to chronic medications and conditions before you come to the US.
So people who have scripts for medication.
Scripts, yes. So for me, I have a heart condition and I require heart medications. And the best thing to do is go to your specialist and trying to get 6 months worth of prescriptions. And from there on, take it with you to the US and then try and see how long you can last with that. Hopefully you get on refugee medical assistance or, you know, the healthcare that depends on the state to help you with that if the medication runs out. And by that time, hopefully you would have seen the doctor or a primary person who can help you with prescriptions and all that. Yeah.
Well, I always find it interesting. South Africans say, "Well, will I be able to get medication in America?" Are you serious? This is the drug capital of the world. I mean,
Exactly.
almost every major medication that people rely on around the world, with a few exceptions, was developed, tested here with us as guinea pigs, and then sold around the world, usually at a loss by these companies while they overcharge us. So every medicine, virtually every medicine that you need, you can get here. And if you don't get the same one, you get a replacement which has the same efficacy. So, for instance, in the Anglophone world, people take paracetamol. That stuff's useless. It doesn't do anything for me. I've taken paracetamol; it did nothing to relieve my headache. Here we'll have acetaminophen. Tylenol is the name brand. So but you don't really get paracetamol here. I mean, I think you'll probably get it, but it's just not something that's usually issued. So, but anyway, but the other thing too is that South Africa is similar, so it's not a big difference, but it's very different than most of Africa. Most things in Africa you can go without a script and go to any pharmacy and get it because they sell knockoff Indian, generics, and you don't need a doctor's script. But in America, for something as simple as an antibiotic, you have to have a doctor's script.
Yes.
Doxycycline is a broad-based antibiotic, which is used for tons of things, malaria and for all kinds of other things. And you can't just buy it off the shelf. You have to have doctor's script.
Yes, as well as if you need to see a specialist, you need a referral from a doctor. You can't just book an appointment at like a dermatologist.
Or a cardiologist. You can't just go to a cardiologist. You have to be referred there by a primary care provider. That's just the way it works. And yes, if you're paying, you have to pay to see the primary care provider, and then you have to pay for the cardiologist.
That's what makes me so worried when it comes to the American medical industry, making sure that your health insurance covers it. Where are you allowed to go? Do they accept it? Because if there's a mistake, it can be very expensive.
Exactly. And so for me, it's very frustrating as a military person because they, first off, I was supposed to have free healthcare the rest of my life for myself and my family as a consequence of being a military retiree.
Yes.
That was bogus. They changed the laws while I served, and now I have to pay for my health insurance. It's not much compared to what other people have to pay, and it's a pretty good bargain, but it's an earned bargain, but it was supposed to be free. So I pay insurance every year, and I only get like a month to pay it. If I don't pay it, then I don't have care for a year. You can't come in and start it during the year. So it's kind of lame. I mean, if you're in a traffic accident, you're in a hospital, and you're in a coma, you wake up, you have no health insurance. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that if it doesn't say specifically that doctor, like if they refer you to practice with 25 doctors and you get assigned to one, they won't pay it.
Yeah, and that it can get very complicated when it comes to how medical works here compared to South Africa. Right. So I would say just if somebody comes here, just brush up on your knowledge, make sure that check if you receive medical assistance, who covers it, who doesn't cover it. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay a hefty price,
So for me, to give an example here, because we're talking about medical stuff. So I went to see an orthopedic surgeon because of the hip. And I was authorized to see him 4 times in 1 year based on that referral. Okay, doesn't say what care he's allowed to give, but I went. First time was consult. Okay, I paid my copay, which is $40, something like that, which is not too bad, but still. Then the second time I went and saw him was a consult again, follow up, and because he had to see some test results, and then he recommended that I have an MRI. Okay, well, I can't just go get an MRI. I'm going to be billed for that. I have to have a referral, which means the insurance authorize it. And he has to put that in. So he put that into the system, and then I have a genuine referral. Good to go. Pay my copay. The other $900 I don't pay. That's paid by the insurance, or they only pay part of it. Then I needed the injection to put the cortisone and stuff into the hip. Now that one would think is part of the care. I go to see him. I still have 2 appointments left. That should be fine. No, you have to have a referral for that. He never put the referral in. Christmas came. I have an appointment early January. Like, I'm not going to go and get this injection until I have a referral number because I'm not paying $1,200 to get a needle stuck in my hip.
Yeah. That's what's crazy about, I actually went to the ER when I came here, and my heart, my doctor's appointment, not my doctor's appointment, my mandatory health
screening,
not screening, was it
checkup
here in Dallas. She said my blood pressure is a bit low, so I had to go to do that, and I was just worried about the bill. So I just asked questions when I got there. Is my refugee medical assistance going to pay for it or not? And at least they did at the end of the day. But
but the whole point of our story here is that number one, healthcare is different than it is in South Africa.
Definitely.
Look, if you have the money, you can't get better healthcare than you get in America. You won't find it on the planet. Even if you don't have the money, as long as you go through the hoops, which is the hard part, make sure you've checked all the blocks, you're going to get great health care by and large. So I used to go to a dermatologist for rosacea, and they would charge me the copay every time. It's an hour drive to go to them because they didn't give me a referral to somebody closer. I would go down there, and I saw a physician's assistant, not even the doctor. And all she did was ask me what's going on. She looked over, she goes, yeah, you need something here. You've definitely got rosacea. All right, here's doxycycline. You need to take this twice a day. I said, for how long? Well, as long as you have rosacea, which will be the rest of your life. I'm like, what? So then I went back for over a year, and each time I went to see her, all it was is she looked at my face and wrote a new script. My general practitioner, my regular doctor, can write a script for doxycycline. I don't need her for that. So I don't even go back to them because she wasn't improving my condition. They're just making money off of me and off the insurance company. So you have to be informed. And for me, it's a learning experience too. I'm learning like the refugees are learning because I was in the Army. You go to the Army clinic or hospital and they take care of you. Yes. Well, sometimes you do well, sometimes you don't. But the point is that I didn't have to worry about these things. And so this is a new world for me too, and I'm discovering it, and I don't like it.
And the funny part, when I was in the ER, the service was so outstanding. I thought I was going to pay an arm and a leg just because of how efficient everything was. Here in America, the efficiency is beyond comparable to South Africa, especially the hospital I went to, Medical City, Dallas. I went there. In 15 minutes, they did everything they needed to do. I just had to sit and wait for the results, and luckily I was clear to go. And RMA paid it at least, well, I think it did because I didn't receive any bills. So that's it. But the efficiency of the medical system here in America is beyond comparable.
So look, I have a question. So when you went to, it was a hospital, yes?
Yes.
For the emergency room.
Yes.
And that's something people need to understand. Every state in the union has laws that you can't be refused care in emergency room. That doesn't mean it's going to be prompt care. There might be a bunch of people waiting room. You have to wait hours, but by law, they have to see you. You can't go to emergency room and be turned away. I'm not aware of any state that doesn't have that. But that's not healthcare. That's just urgent care is what that's supposed to. I mean, that's not ideal. Especially with a heart condition, you're going to see your cardiologist on a regular basis for maintenance and for improving your health. But emergency room is not the solution. But it is there if it happens. So vacuuming in the hallway now. It's going to distract me there. I had a thought where I was going somewhere. It just went right out the window, these senior moments. But the thing is that you just have to understand that it's a system that you just have to learn and make sure that you check all the blocks so you don't get with these big bills. Because healthcare can be very expensive. And people say, why is healthcare so expensive? Well, an MRI machine costs $750,000. They have to recoup that money.
Definitely.
And they have to maintain that device. And the people that work it have to be trained on it. You know? Yes.
As well as everything is built separately. Your x-rays, everything is on its own. It's not going to be just in one.
No, it's not one flat bill. Yes. They itemize everything and let you know exactly what you're paying for.
Yes, that's also very important.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. So you went to a hospital and they didn't tell you that you have to wait because you're white?
No. I just sat there. They said, you can come in. They put me on a bed, drew my blood, took x-rays, everything in 15 minutes. I was done. So I just couldn't believe how fast it was. And fast. The efficiency scared me because if they're so efficient and very good at what they're doing, how expensive is this going to be? And I didn't know if my refugee medical assistance was going to cover it. So that really,
you were kind of panicking at the hospital.
I was panicking so much at that moment.
Oh, gosh. I'm not laughing at you, Thomas. I'm just shaking my head because I understand where you're coming from. If you get good service, you think it's going to be pricey.
Definitely.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Oh my goodness, guys. So let me see if there's any questions before we close up here, and then we'll give you a chance to wrap up. Let's see if anybody pop the question up here. And we got 639 people currently watching. Went to pick up my dad's meds at State Hospital and asked the doctor about the one medication she didn't know, so she Googled it. Oh my gosh. Seriously? That's crazy. Wow.
I think crazy. A lot of doctors do Google it, especially if it's a South African medication. It has to be like
no, but this was in South Africa. They Googled it.
No.
Nice interview with your young guest. He definitely did the right thing. Glad his fiance supplied and his brother. There will be an assist to the economy. That was from David Simpson. Thank you for that.
Thank you, David. Yeah, really appreciate it.
My financial advisor told me that my pension can only be moved out 3 years after obtaining tax closure. They're saying all kinds of crazy things about pensions now. I don't know what the truth is in South Africa anymore. It's crazy. So when going to America, how can we bring our savings to America? Well, you can keep a bank account in South Africa, and I'll talk to him about that in a second.
Yeah, I still have my Capitec.
Yeah, there you go. And Capitec's a good choice. I'm not promoting any banks, but a lot of people say that it costs very little to transfer money. You can transfer money from your Capitec account to a U.S. account. There's a website I can access and maybe get a job in Texas. We need a passport. What about the visa? You can't just come to America and get a job. You have to have an authorization to work here. You can't. This isn't an immigration program. Maybe you didn't write what you meant there fully in the chat, but this is not an immigration program. It's for people suffering from racial persecution. And you can't just come to America. I can't just go to South Africa and get a job. I have to have a work permit. And a work permit would come in the form of a visa that grants you work status, like an H-2A, temporary seasonal visa worker for farm agriculture, or H-1B1, which is for tech workers and skilled people. You have to have that to come here, and your status here is contingent on that job. So if you come in, you work for an employer and they go bankrupt or they fire you, you have to leave. You don't get to stay here. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, you could have permanent residency here, but you don't just come here and have permanent residency. You have to be here for a period of time and qualify for it and apply for it. So the other thing is you can immigrate here, but you have to have a visa letting you immigrate, and that's very few people to get that. In the case of a refugee, they are allowed to work because they're essentially treated as if they have permanent residency. So they don't have a green card, which is permanent residency, but they're treated as such. And that's why they need something called an employment authorization document, EAD, because green card holders don't need that. They pull their green card out and that's their EAD essentially. Yes. So anyway, so yeah, but a visa and a passport, you need a hell of a lot more than that to come to America and work. It's not as simple as that.
Definitely. Yeah. One thing I would add is if you come to the US, especially with this program, you will not automatically be connected with Americans. You will also be connected with a lot of people who are refugees or who have been refugees from other countries like Afghanistan and Ethiopia and so on. So I met a lot of people like that in Maine as well as here in Texas. So you're not going to automatically feel like you're an American in a sense of the idea of the culture and everything, because you will probably live around a lot of immigrants and have to do with a lot of immigrants. And it's not a negative thing because they are here for the same reason as you in a sense. So I would recommend just keeping to your path, and you will eventually meet a lot of Americans, have conversations, especially if you get the chance to go out, So don't say I'm in the same place as a lot of Afghans or anything and see that as a negative part. It's just part of the process.
Well, and as long as those people are friendly towards you, you can learn a lot from them, especially if they've been here for a period of time. Because and if they're from Afghanistan and they're a refugee, unless they're one of the 15 or so that have come here in the past year, they've been here for over a year. And so they've had time to adapt, adjust, learn who's who in the zoo, so to speak. Yes. So yesterday when we took the photograph at the other location where all the folks came over with the Southern refugees, we need somebody to take the photo so everybody can be in the photo. So they got this guy's attention who was down there who doesn't speak English very well. Turns out he's from Cote d'Ivoire. He's not a refugee, but he won the visa diversity lottery.
Wow.
So he came over here 2 years ago. And so I spoke to him in French and got him to take the photograph. So I haven't shared that yet, but I will be sharing that photograph. Boy, the whole place they could vacuum. The hallway is 300 meters long and they're concentrating right in front of my room. Anyway, I'm at the end of the hall. You'd think we have peace and quiet, but you probably can't hear the vacuum, but we can hear it. It's very distracting. So meet other people, people from around the world. I mean, that there's value in that. And look, there's just value in being polite and friendly to people. I mean, I think you experience that.
Definitely. And the thing is, you should not just expect, I'm coming to America, I'm going to meet Americans straight off, because that's not how it's necessarily going to work. Depending on where you're placed, like in Maine, there was an enormous amount of Somalis and communities there. I've met a lot of them. I talked to them. All of them have their stories, and you feel for them still. And
as long as you're not running a layering center. I feel for them.
that's all.
It's a whole different ball of wax.
I'm new here. I should probably do that while I wait for my SS.
Hey, I tell you what. Why don't we make our own layering center?
Yes, but don't be shocked in a sense if you get here and you meet people from other cultures instead of just Americans. Because that grabbed me a little bit in the beginning. I'm like, wait, why am I meeting everybody except Americans? And that is something that probably will happen and can happen.
And there's a reason why that is, because refugees are basically starting from the bottom and rent's expensive. And so they wind up being placed in areas that are, affordable is not really the term, but more affordable is a better term. More affordable than the other places. They're not always the nicest neighborhoods, and you just have to accept that until you get yourself a job and you're making money. And like I talked to Lily, she and her husband, they already have a plan for where they're going to be 1 year from now, and it's not going to be where they're sitting right now. So they've thought ahead, and they're already socking away what money they can to make a move. And actually, the place they want to move to last night, I saw someone talk about on television last night. Someone from the Super Bowl is actually from that part of Dallas.
Wow,
so it's pretty cool. But yeah, so just temper your expectations, and it won't be surprising if you find yourself around like the United Nations or League of Nations when you arrive. Unless you're, fat and wealthy and full of cash and flush with cash, you go buy yourself that castle that I discovered in Wyoming that has $270,000 a month in property taxes.
That's a lot.
Well, you should see this thing. It's like the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany, like the one they've modeled the Disney World after. It's insane. It's in Wyoming. I would love to have this place, but I wonder what the heating bills are.
I can only imagine, honestly.
Yeah, it must be crazy. I'll bet they only heat like 2 rooms. the rest you walk in is like a meat locker in the wintertime. Must be crazy. All right, well, Thomas, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera a little close to you and give you a chance to give people your final thoughts or recommendations. And then when you're done, I'll just wrap it up. So let me move the camera a little bit closer for everybody. I think we're up about an hour now on this conversation. Yeah, we just at 1 hour and 5 minutes. So cool beans. All right. And when people get a little closer with you there. Okay. So there you go. The floor is yours, sir.
So I'll just end off by saying that this is not an easy thing. Everybody that's waiting to come here, everybody who wants to come here, or everybody who's already here struggling with things, it's not meant to be easy. All I will tell you is that you have to have a mindset of pushing through and staying true to yourself, to why you are here. I know a few people who are actually depressed in a sense of why they're here. They've been here for a while now and they're struggling to keep going. They feel like they made a mistake maybe, but you shouldn't have that mindset. You should push through and say, what do you want at the end of the day? Where do you want to be? How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel safe? Do you want to feel free? And that's what you need to think of. Not how you feel right now, but how you want to feel at the end of the day. The goal you set out for yourself. That's something I'd really take into consideration every day I get up. Even if I don't have my SSN or a job, I sleep on a couch, I will just say, push through it. And one day you'll say, remember that time when I slept on a couch, when I didn't have a job, when I was stuck in Maine. And, you'll laugh about it and say, I made it through. And that's all I can say, guys, is keep on believing and keep pushing, because your life is in your hands. Nobody can tell you how to live your life. And you should just keep pushing. Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
Well, Thomas, I think you should send a greeting out to your fiancée, or you're going to
Yes.
be in a lot of trouble here.
Oh my goodness, yes. Liefie jou, Maria, ek mis jou so baie en ek kan nie wag om jou hier by my te hê nie. Ja, en ek kan nie wag dat jy bietjie weer kos maak nie. Jo, ek's moeg om ramen te eet hierso.
Anything for your family?
As vir my broer Rico, ek sien jou oor 'n paar maande hopelik, en dan kan jy daai construction jobbie wat jy regtig so oor praat maar vat hierso. Ek gaan try vir marketing mik, maar ek sal jou ondersteun al die pad. As jy wil oor begin studeer hierso, ek sou ook help met dit, maar jy hou om praat van construction en oil rig jobs hierso, you can go for it,
And ma en pa?
As vir my ma en pa, ek sou sê ek's lief vir julle al twee, ek mis julle ongelooflik, jy weet. Dis nie maklik om alleen hier te wees nie, maar ek kry die ondersteuning van al die gemeenskappe hierso en ek waardeer dit ongelooflik, jy weet. Die mindset wat ek hierso het, hou my voort, jy weet, en ek sou aanraai dat julle ook sterk bly en staan, jy weet. Al is ek nie by julle nie, beteken dit nie noodwendig ek dink nie aan julle nie. Ek dink aan julle elke dag en ek hoop die beste vir julle elke dag. Ek mis julle ongelooflik en ek kan nie weer wag om julle te sien nie.
Any warm greetings for the EFF or Julius Malema? No, I just
Sterkte.
I just teased him. All right. Okay, folks. So that was Thomas here in Dallas. And so he owes me a beer because I just saved him from getting in trouble with his fiancée because he almost forgot to greet his fiancée before he wrapped up. But thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We may have another interview coming up shortly. I have a family coming here. And hopefully we'll get a chance to put them on air. They may just want to meet with me. I'm not sure. So I'm spending today meeting with the refugees that are in the area, and there's probably 35 or 40 of them. As I said, we had 25 people that rocked up when I showed up over yesterday, and at least 15 of them were refugees that wanted to come to the meet and greet. So that would have pushed us over 100 at our big meet and greet, but they didn't have transportation or a way to go. And that's why I booked a hotel that looks like it's seen better days, but it's not bad, but it's seen better days just to be close to them so that we can get there. In fact, Thomas walked here, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate being here. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done already. I only see 407 likes, 410 likes. A little bit of super chat revenue. So I'm sorry I missed the super chat. Hopefully it was not something important. You're just sharing something. But again, hit that like button. I only see 410 now. Come on, 600 people. Come on, come on. What do we have to do? Do we have to bribe you? I'll offer you Zimbabwean dollars. I have a whole bunch of them. Anybody want Zimbabwean dollars? There you go. That's a little better. Hit that like button. All right. So my many thanks. Bye, Donkey Thomas. It was a pleasure, and I thank him for his time and also for sharing yet another aspect of the refugee experience for South Africans in America. Specifically, he relocated. I'm not encouraging anyone to relocate. I'm not discouraging anyone. What I am telling you is that make sure that you get what you're entitled to before you pick up and leave. Don't leave anything on the table. That's like going to Vegas, betting, losing, and then winning, and then getting off the table and leaving your winnings on the table. Not smart. So make sure you get your winnings before you go anywhere. And if you're going to move somewhere, understand America's a big country, okay? And things are different and things are the same. Many similarities and many differences. All right, be sure to hit the like button again, folks. Thanks a lot. We'll see you again here shortly, hopefully, with another interview. And if not, I'll be doing the news. Cheers.